All right, so look, the first thing to say is, who knows what a focus group is? It's just for me to ask you about things that have nothing to do with me in terms of our party, and you can say whatever you want. And the more you say, the louder you are, the more you disagree with me, the better. Okay? So you have a bit of a yeah? Yeah. Everyone at once, yeah? Yeah. Okay, good. Very good, very good. All right, so the first thing to say is, I'm here today to tell you that it's cool to vote. Right? It's cooler to vote all your life, and it's coolest to vote Labour. Okay, so we're going to show you a couple of campaign posters that your Labour's working on for young people. What do you think of this?
No.
No? So, what do you mean? So what do you think of this? So it's a YOLO, vote Labour. No. Who can tell me what YOLO means? You only live once, vote Labour. What's wrong with that? This is a great campaign poster. No. Tell me why it's not.
It's too cliche. You actually think young people actually like this?
Yeah, young people like, you know, youth speak language, so this would work for them, right?
Yeah, we just laugh at that.
But you would laugh, but would you vote Labour?
No.
Why not? It's not patronising. How is it patronising?
Look at that.
It's good. It's a good idea. YOLO, vote Labour.
Yeah.
It's YOLO, and no, it's not.
What if it was you only vote Labour? YOLVL. YOLVL?
No, it just seems really desperate.
Why does it seem desperate?
It seems like you're just trying way too hard to get their attention.
Whoa. We're not trying hard to get anyone's attention. We're just speaking the language that young people speak, right?
I think it's more practical.
But it'd be like, wag, let's do it, rude boy, vote Labour. Right? That's good, right?
Because some people don't understand this kind of a language.
No, but young people do. I mean, that's the whole point, right?
That's a generalisation. Not all young people approach and use that kind of language.
Young people, most of them are sort of, sort of rioters, young people who've been... No, we're trying to talk to people about young issues. Why do you think that's a joke? I mean, we're trying to get down on a level with young people.
It would be more practical if you talk to them as if they're adults.
But they're not adults.
If they're 18,
simple.
They are 18, they're classed as adults. And if you want them to vote for you, you have to actually treat them as adults.
Yeah, but to be treated as an adult, you have to stop being such a, sort of drug-taking, McDonald's eating, X Factor watching. It's not a joke, it's serious. We're doing serious stuff.
No, you see it, no.
But why not? So what is your impression of how should we be talking to young people?
For?
To those kind of like social groups, like drug dealers or.
Well, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Look, a lot of the a lot of the political class are trying to work out how to speak to young voters in your language. All right. So it's like we're trying to say, look, I know that sometimes eubonics or whatever people talk nowadays is important to get across to young people how they speak, and some of the language that we use might be a bit alienating. Okay, so this poster not so good. Is that the general consensus?
Yeah.
Not so happy with this one. Okay. This is, you might not know this, but Dizzy Rascal's actually quite a big Labour supporter. He's been involved with the party for a couple of years, and he suggested maybe he could make a free mixtape. So we've come up with this. What do you think about this one?
No.
Download Dizzy Rascal's mixtape, vote Labour.
How does that have any relevance to us voting for it?
Well, because it could be like, yo, get down, vote Labour. Get real, get vote Labour, What do you think that's a good idea? Why is that embarrassing?
You're trying to engage a minority that don't vote anyway, so what's the point? Why don't you engage people that actually
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you shouldn't judge them, man. You're a bit out of touch, okay? Those people, they're still people too, right? I mean, come on, Don't you think? But don't you think they should vote? I mean, come on. No, but I mean, seriously. Okay, so how would you suggest, if it was a campaign poster, what would you suggest we say?
One thing you can do is make a different campaigns, because you have different groups of people, of teenagers. So you're going to try to find what are the different types of teenagers and find what's the best method of convincing them.
So who smokes crack? Who doesn't smoke crack? Well, no, I'm not condescending. I'm just saying a lot of young people nowadays are sort of, reprobates and drug addicts and people who do stuff like that. What's the issue with that? Okay, so why don't you tell me what different people are like?
Smoke crack, vote Labour.
Would that work?
No, it wouldn't.
No, it really
Actually
isn't.
would.
It would work.
If there was a policy, like you would legalise marijuana,
So what about that? So we could legalise marijuana.
But you would never.
That would never actually.
we might get that through.
No, you wouldn't get that through.
Well, let me tell you, I think I might get that through.
But I'm telling
You know, and I'm gonna. Yeah, but let me tell you that I think I would.
But you won't.
Yeah, but no, but I probably will. No, but I think I will, because
Commons won't allow that, no.
well, the Commons probably will allow it if we get a majority in
No,
Parliament.
but you,
Look,
understand how
look,
the system
look,
works,
look.
sweetheart,
Well,
but it
look.
doesn't work like that.
Don't call me sweetheart, darling, but that's okay. But look, listen, simply put, the whole point is young people. Let's talk about the issues that matter to young people. Who's going to tell me an issue that matters to them? Any issue, go for it.
University fees?
So tuition fees. Okay, all right. So if I was to say Facebook, is that really what you're trying to say? When you say tuition fees, you're talking about young people connecting. Facebook, right?
That has nothing to do with anything.
Okay. So why tuition fees?
Clearly, people want to go into higher education.
Right.
So how are you allowing everyone to have a fair chance of doing that if you're making tuition fees higher each year?
So you're saying higher education.
Yeah.
So that's the issue that matters to you, higher education.
No.
And you're saying tuition fees.
Tuition fees is what's causing people, for example, in working class, not able to go into higher education.
Oh, so you're talking about the working class. Okay, so what you're really talking about is ASPOs, right? So this is the issue for you, right? No, I'm not. I'm being totally serious. This is the issue that matters to you, right? So we're...
It's not always the
What they
main
say,
issue.
just write it down on the book, write down the board.
Okay, yeah, but we're just taking some lateral thinking here, okay? I'm trying to hear what you're saying and then really nail the issue.
It's
Like
quite
for
funny-
you.
It's quite funny how you're saying you
But
can't take the
making
seriously.
a reductionism is not the best way because it covers more than just one major issue. There's
Okay,
maybe other
and you think
major
it's too reductive as it is now? Okay, so look, let's just take your word, even though, you know, you're young kids or whatever. Let's say, okay, let's say tuition fees.
Did you do that?
Tuition fees. So tuition fees, what's the big issue there? So if we scrap tuition fees, what would you do? Would you vote Labour then?
Well, we're not saying scrap them because naturally, if tuition fees are there, they're there for a reason. So
Right,
if
right.
they're there,
That's good,
it's
That's
good
good,
for students to understand that's an investment in the future. But we're not saying put them back at 9,000 a year,
No.
where most working class people can't look forward to that because they just can't afford it.
Right, okay. And I know you're having a problem with this whole session. I know you and me haven't got along too well. But let me tell you, sister, you and me are going to be getting on like a house on fire by the end. Is that? Well, that's not a problem, is it? What? What? Why is that? Right, we'll just cut that bit. Listen, what do you think is the big issue facing young people today?
People like you.
People like me. So what? Politicians.
You're not listening to us.
I am listening to you.
You're saying
Of course I'm
you're-
listening to
You're
you.
saying we're not adults. You're not.
Right.
You can't talk
We
to us
young
like
children.
adults yet.
So I didn't
You're
say
the
you
one
young
acting
children.
Yes, you
like
did
a
say
child
that.
and not clearly listening to what we said to you.
Okay, so let's talk about adults really listening. So if we said vote Labour, we listen. What about that?
But you actually
But-
have to follow through with that.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, we would put it in our manifesto, and then we'd take a look at it later on. See if it was good. Well, I mean, that's how modern politics works. Is you take a judgment when you're in party, when you're in government, about what we could actually do. Okay, so let's go with you. What do you think the main issue is facing young people today?
Like they said, higher education, drugs.
Drugs.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about drugs. What are the big drugs? Crystal amphetamines or whatever they're called? Crack? Marijuana? Skunk? Is that the big issue? Is that the real big issue?
Yeah.
And would we legalise all of those? Young people, is that what you mean? We legalise them? Well, I mean, look, I know you all probably take drugs. I'm not judging you. I'm sure you all probably rioted as well. I'm not judging you. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to listen. I'm like an activist. I'm like a listenerist. I'm here to listen to you.
I don't have
But
one
we're saying
question.
is-
Are you trying to make a positive campaign for the labourers?
I'm just trying to hear. I'm just trying to really hear what it is you guys want to be. The big issues of the 2015 general election. That's all it is.
I think the main problem with drugs is that if you gave us teenagers
Drugs.
no, if you gave them more opportunities to do something with their life, have internships, whatever,
Right.
higher education,
Yeah.
they're more less likely to do drugs or go into crime. But clearly, you guys are not doing that. It's like you're taking away all those opportunities they have.
So if we gave you internships, there wouldn't be so many drugs.
And that would reduce
And that would reduce the unemployment
People
rate.
that are unemployed are
Take drugs.
16.
And they're the drug takers.
No, I'm
They're
not
the
saying
people that take drugs.
It's true, 'cause
Well, the unemployed people are the people taking drugs. They're drug taking drug heads.
No, only a minority of them are drug heads, but only because you guys gave them no option. They
Well, it wasn't me. That was New Labour. We're not New Labour. We're One Nation Labour. We're newer Labour, like Labour 2, Judgment Day, that sort of thing. We're a different type of Labour. Does that make sense? So let's talk about some of the things that One Nation, because One Nation, the reason we're called One Nation Labour is because the idea is that we can all muck in, we all get involved, we all get stuck in together, those kind of phrases. But obviously our generation cared about politics, we cared about the welfare state, we cared about the world. Obviously none of you care about that. So what do you care about? Well, what do you care
That's a
about?
lie, because Boris Johnson and David Cameron, when they were in university,
Well, they are.
rioted
Yeah.
in restaurants. So that's
Absolutely.
ridiculous
Tories,
saying
evil
how
Tories.
They supported welfare and they wanted to help everyone.
We are
yet they
completely
rioted.
different. We are listen, I tell you, our policy is to be completely different from those
So how do
posh
you differ?
boys.
How do you
Yeah,
differ?
how we
What do you
differentiate between
Well,
the two.
well, we're new Labour, you see. We're newer than Labour.
Yeah, so what do you do?
What
What's in the
policies are
manifesto that
different
different?
What's in our manifesto? Well, I can't tell you now what we're going to put in our manifesto because, that might be different
What are your
depending on...
political ideologies? What do you stand for?
Well, we stand for... What do you want us to stand for? What do you want?
That's your job. You need to tell us so we can know what we're voting for.
Well, we're for education. We're for, like you said, cracking down on the drug heads. We're for helping young people get off drugs, getting rid of tuition fees. And we're for Facebook. We're for Facebook. We're for Twitter.
It seems
Um,
like you're just coming out with this stuff, just to go.
No, I'm saying seriously, what are the issues that you want us to look at? Because this is, look, we'll have a look at some of these and we'll talk about issues related to some of these, okay? And then you can ask me anything you like about these. So you can ask me, should we talk about the riots? I mean, how many of you were rioters?
No.
All, come on, you all look like rioters, come on.
No.
Come on, I'm sure I've seen at least 2 of you in the CCTV footages.
Really?
But yeah, particularly you.
Is it?
But you,
Sure.
fine. And you were rioting as well, weren't you?
Yeah.
So that's good. At least he admits it, and he's a reformed character. How do you feel now that you've admitted it? Do you feel better? Do you feel better about it now?
Huge relief.
You feel a huge relief. And I think this is a good example of someone taking responsibility. And do you think you'll have a
That is
better...
absolutely hilarious because it's funny how you're saying he's taking responsibility, but Boris Johnson and David Cameron did not. They got away with it.
Yeah, but I'm not...
But
listen,
Paul
I'm
Williams,
not
he stole
conservative.
From Poundland,
Yeah.
got 5 years.
But our policy, if we got into government, was to make sure she wouldn't get 5 years. You see, that's why we're the party for you. Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about crime. What would you like our policy to be on crime? Because at the minute, I'll tell you what it is. It's that crime is bad and it doesn't pay.
Can I say one thing? It's a lot of people. A lot of
Just-
people
just-
say that crime is committed by teenagers.
Yes,
and,
it is.
druggies.
Well, druggy
But it's
teenagers.
funny how most of the crime in statistics do not show corporate crime and white collar crime.
The bankers.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I mean, you see, I'd like to do something about the bankers because what we need to do is separate the retail arm from the investment arm of banks to make sure that they can't gamble away all our money. The problem is that some of those guys who I know from school, we've got to still fund our campaign. And if we don't fund our campaign, then we won't be able to compete with the Conservatives. So we will do something about that,
you see
just
theft,
not my mates at
you
RBS.
see normal theft as more worse crime.
Well, if
than white
people,
collar crime.
well, the thing is that listen, if people are wearing a suit, then they're not doing as much damage, are they?
Yes, they are.
Why?
There was a statistic by HSBC. They must have done something with. Yeah, they fired 700 people.
Sure, I mean, look, HSBC were money laundering for Mexican gangs, but they weren't actually shooting guns, were they? So, I mean, that's okay. I mean, we're going to do something about that eventually
It's funny
when
how
we
you
get
done
in.
something for the rioters, but you didn't do nothing.
But the
for
rioters, there's real issues for the
but
rioters.
You're saying you want to reach to young people. So what are your approaches on educating
Young
youth
people.
electorate?
Okay.
Why do you
Well, this is what I'm doing here. I'm coming here to connect with you guys. Come on, touch.
Don't do it.
Come on, let's do it.
Don't
What?
do it from there.
What?
Spudding.
What? Come on, spud me. Come on.
I thought you.
It's good. We're here to connect with you. We're connecting right now. You know more about me, and I know more about you. I'm not stereotyping. Look, if you are all drug addicts and whatever, and youth people, that's okay. You know, I didn't grow up in London. I don't know what it's like to live in the ghetto. I'm not, I don't know. So,
If you say that you're here to listen what our issues are,
Yeah.
then why are you continuing to use the same
Yeah, but can you
approach?
vote in this country?
Ooh.
I'm just saying, can you, or was it?
Oh my god.
No, that's the thing. Is
Yeah,
you're actually
okay.
giving a negative approach for your campaign, and the other thing is about you don't try quite to approach us. You're using the same method over and over again.
But look, I'm a new type of politician. I'm here to listen to you. I'm going to take what you say.
What you just said.
What did I say? What?
Are you even allowed to vote in this country?
Well, that's a fair enough question, isn't it?
Are you seriously from the Labour
No,
Party?
he's
Or are you
not.
just-
I am. Yes, I'm from the Labour Party, and I'm here to talk about what's going on.
I honestly
Look, what about this? What about benefits? What would you say is a good idea for benefits? Because personally, I'm on the fence. I'll tell you that much. I'm not sure what I think. What do you think I should think?
Wait, you're from
About
Labour, you should know
benefits.
what you
Honestly,
think
you
about
have the first
benefits.
clue about representative democracy.
Yeah, of course I do. Look, listen, I've been a career politician my whole life.
Are you sure?
I,
Your whole life.
yeah, I mean, well, I actually, before this, I actually ran a social networking site. You might know it. It's called You Likey. And it was like a precursor to Bebo and Facebook. And, we made a fair bit of money. I'm not, bragging, but, back in the day when Silicon Roundabout was, just a small little thing. And now I realise that, I'm like an activist, but I'm a listener, like a listenerist. And I'm here to listen to you. This is part of a big listen for us to get your ideas and make them into policy.
So how, when he said tuition fees, did you automatically kind of take that as face value?
So tuition fees are fees that you pay because you want to meet other people and connect, networking, Facebook.
So I go to uni to meet new people. That's part.
Of course you do, of
That's
course,
what
yeah.
happens when I go to uni.
Yeah.
I go to uni with the main purpose of getting my degree so I can excel career-wise.
Yeah, but you'll excel career-wise. The benefits of that will be meeting a network of people who hopefully
Facebook is
can
not
get you.
gonna get you a job. If you meet people, you meet them. If you don't, you don't. You're there for your degree. That's
So
it.
Facebook, if you meet people, you meet people. If not, you don't. Vote Labour.
Do you have an obsession about Facebook?
Well, yeah, I mean, Facebook's what it's all about, isn't it?
How long
No,
left?
it's not. You don't
Well,
have
look, we've got another 10 minutes, and we'll talk about. So, look, let's talk about this. This is a serious issue for you guys, right? Education, right? What is it about the way that education is currently structured that you'd like to see change? You're young, you're hip, you know what's going on. What would you like to see change?
Fair opportunities. I mean, if you think about it, the rich people, they can even pay for their qualification and get the job they want to.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas for people who are coming from the labor underground, I mean not underground, playground, the problem with them is they need to struggle with all the time, and just it offers them because it's too much work and they cannot handle the pressure. And actually, students have like the potential of going to university and actually have a major contribution to the country by actually finishing the qualification and help other people or to the country as a whole. Well, it's not going to work because of the pressure which is put on them.
But it's funny because actually one of our policies is to make sure that younger people who are feeling real pressure, and like you said it, from working class backgrounds, they get a good education, And that's not just because you've just said that. That's because that's something we've been working on for ages, for a long time.
Also, it's not like the further education. We need to talk also about the primary educational system.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look, for example, I have friends who are working like in kindergartens, and the way the system works there. First of all, the children they don't like learn anything from there.
Right.
They're just like most of the times they're like an animals. What I mean is just if they need to go out, they don't care about the opinions of the children. They just take them out.
Yeah.
If it's cold, they don't care about them. They just like at the end of the day, they just think about to get the money. For the employees, mainly for the employer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in time, they find out about these kind of things that actually the teachers doesn't care. Like not all of them, but some of the teachers don't care about the children. And they don't give them about things.
Well, that's one of our policies, is to make sure teachers at primary school care about children, Listen, let's talk about this quickly, because this is something we are totally against now, particularly, is war. Because obviously, you Labour, what did you say? That I spelt it wrong? Yeah. Look, don't judge me, okay, just because I spelt it wrong. I mean, we'll cut that out. Just cut that out. But this is something, obviously, I know New Labour, there was war and there was stuff that we didn't like. I didn't like it, you didn't like it. So we are anti-war, man. War's not cool. And we don't want to be any part of it. So just so you know, that's what we think. So what do we think about this? What do we think about sex? Because obviously some of you will have heard about gay marriage, I'm sure.
So what's your
you know.
thoughts on gay marriage?
Well, no, it's not about me. I mean, I'm sure because of gang and rap music and stuff like that, you're all very homophobic, I'm sure. You know, but I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, statistically, you know, 1 in 8 people are gay. So, you know, one of you is probably gay and you don't even know it. And you will probably get married. And when you do, I personally am not sure what I think about that. What do you think?
Okay, what do I think? I think I would never vote for you to represent me.
Why? Why? Why?
At all.
But I'm really listening.
You know what you're thinking is a joke.
I'm not taking it as a joke.
No, I was